Hello, sister. You have been with me since the start of this channel, so I will do my best to do right by you and give you the best I got in like a master class of pretty well everything I've learned in under 10 minutes. I'm going to try to do it in a way that is not totally overwhelming, but by the end of this, I'm hoping you get some kind of grip on it. And of course, reach out to me with the link in my bio, and I'm happy to clear things up and bring you in as a client or as a member of this ministry. Okay, what we do at this ministry is heal the body, reclaim the mind, and restore the kingdom in a practical way. So essentially, we're going to heal our bodies from the toxins so that we can think clearly and, better than was given by the public education system, as well as the, very real mind control that's happening through the device you're holding right now, as well as really everywhere else. Government literally means mind control. Okay, so in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, and there's life and death in the power of the tongue. Okay, so we have to respect words and learn what they mean, and I know that you know this. I'm not trying to condescend. Okay, so one word that's very fascinating to me is jurisdiction. Juris means legal, diction means language. So jurisdiction largely comes down to the language that we choose to use. Yes, there's territorial jurisdiction, but that also falls under the original jurisdiction. Which language are we choosing to use? Which declarations are we choosing to verbalize and write down on paper? Paper is earth, right? And our head has a ventricle, head, ventricle, heaven, and on earth as it is in heaven. So if I write down the things that I want as I imagine them, that is one form of His will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Okay, so we are pretty powerful here. I am that I am. Have I not said ye are gods? We are certainly gods in commerce. Okay, so we're in this sea of commerce, right? And we are in these vessels, and they're creating vessels all the time, and they say they're doing that for our benefit. Well, what does that mean? Well, that would mean that we are the beneficiary of a certain trust relationship. Well, let me tell you about trusts really fast. There's a grantor, there's a trustee, and there's a beneficiary. The original one, can you guess? I'll just tell you. It's God the Father, right? And then there is the earthly father, or, the dad. I'll call it dad, I'll call his father. Okay, so there's the father, there's the dad, and then there's the mom and the children. So father in heaven is the grantor. He made the rules of the trust. The trustee makes sure that those rules are abided by and everything is tended to as the will of the grantor wanted, right? So dad is the trustee, and the beneficiaries are the children and the woman, right? A little bit of the dad too, right? But it's like the dad's responsibility. Okay, that's a trust, and everything is fractal, so everything mimics that exact same structure. We can think of it like this too, right? So like mom and dad granted us a name, right? And we believe that name to be ours. But the legal maxim is he or she who creates controls. Now, I'm not talking about the parents for a moment, right? Because when that happened, they signed a certain document, right? A certificate, and they were listed as informants on that certificate, which was then used to create an insurance account, which is a number that is on a little blue card that everybody has, right? We didn't create those things, which means we don't control those things, okay? And so, yes, we were granted that name, but that name was then taken over by the state to create certain accounts because we are too dumb or whatever, ignorant to handle our own private affairs. We're like 4 generations deep into just everybody going with the public trust, right? And forgetting that we are actually the third-party beneficiaries of that trust, because again, the structure would be the government granted it, they have their own trustees, and we're supposed to be the beneficiary. But we keep acting in the capacity of a trustee, and we're not even asking to get paid to be that trustee. And so on top of that, we are then also expected to be the surety for the principal. The principal is kind of synonymous with grantor, okay? So the principal is the one that owns all the liability for the things that are encountered by the agents, right? Which would be us. We're the agents on behalf of the principal if we are administering that public trust, okay? But we should have made our own private trust and then reclaimed the equitable interest in the instruments that were made by the agents, us, in the public trust. So we have equitable interest in certain documents that were created, things that we signed, applications that we signed, letters of credit that we signed. They are all called commercial paper. So this is chapter 3 of what's called the Uniform Commercial Code, negotiable instruments. When we go and get a loan, we are creating a commercial instrument. We are creating commercial paper. But we're not restricting our endorsement. We're leaving a blank endorsement. So then who we hand it to becomes a holder in due course of an open endorsed cash item. Okay, so we're handing people cash and we don't even really know, because the blood of Yahushua in the form of our signature, our wedding signature, creates commercial paper in this commercial commerce world. Okay, but we're not made aware of all these things, so we leave a blank endorsement. So we don't restrict our endorsement, so we don't reserve our rights, so we just are paying certain loans like 4 different times on the same one. And yes, that's criminal. And so, but it's a business model, right? And until that business model becomes unprofitable, they're just going to pay off the people who find out every now and then. And they're going to continue their business, their multi-billion-dollar global venture, right? So the central banking thing has everybody kind of hypnotized because it's 4 generations deep or whatever you want to say. And everybody's just like, well, this is how my grandma and grandpa did it. And this was what my mom did. And so I got to do it too. And everybody knows that something's totally not right. And anyway, come out of her, my people, right? Let my people go is my role. Okay, so I help people, again, heal the body, reclaim the mind, and restore the kingdom practically. And so this comes down to asset protection. How do we create our own trust? How do we administer our own trust, right? And like, maybe I want to stop using this number, which makes it so I have to abide by all these rules, or I'm held as surety. What does surety mean? Maybe we should learn what surety means. We should know also that a surety can't be held liable before the principal, and that the law of agency is when there is a liability presented, it's the duty of the agent to present that liability back to the principal so the principal can handle its affairs. If the agent wants to try to pretend to be the principal and handle its affairs, right? Oh, here, you got a $500 fine. Do I have that $500 fine? Or does this entity thing, this public trust, have a $500 fine? Now, that needs to go to Secretary of State so it can handle its affairs. Okay, so we need to learn who and what we are. Are we a product of the state? Or are we a product of something else, a creator, right? And if we are a creator, and if we are, if I not said ye are gods, if we are a creator, if we are made in the image of the Father, then we are creators too. And that means we need to create our own trust. And part of that is coming up with our own laws then that we need to follow. And a good example, like a framework, is just use the book until you can become more competent and find out what laws better serve your trust. But like, that's a good framework, I would say, right? That's the original one. So we need to come out of her. We need to create our own trust. We need to become competent in what negotiable instruments are. We for sure need to stop contracting with open endorsements and learn how to restrict our endorsements, and thereby allowing us to reclaim the equitable interest in those negotiable instruments so that we can pull that value into the private trust that we've created, right? And now we have land that we have in a private trust. Now we have buildings that are in a private trust, right? Now we have things that are asset protected, right? And we're able to interface with the public trust only when it's convenient, but not by necessity anymore. And then we're not these citizen status things that they can then assert these implied contracts on, these implied consent. Consent doesn't have to be expressed. It can just be implied through one's own behavior. And so we have to become competent. So we need to learn the power of words. We need to learn a little bit of the Uniform Commercial Code. We need to definitely read the Word of God. I mean, my goodness, acknowledge that that's the truth, right? Or at least acknowledge that that's how our maritime admiralty sea of commerce world is based on, and follow from there. So if you want to learn how to heal the body without a doctor, how to reclaim the mind without nonsensical, like, without being completely just like filling right up with like a jelly donut with nonsense, and you want to restore the kingdom practically using certain asset protection vehicles, well then please click the button in my bio. I will serve you well, I promise. Okay, that's the best I got. I hope that was somewhat helpful. I'll follow up with this too if you want to comment. Take care.